They say you're your own harshest critic. I don't know who they are, but they say it. And after listening to my podcast, my abysmal attempt at a podcast yesterday, I listened to it later on Anchor, and I realized that that's very true. I was horrible. And part of that self-reflection led me to realize why I felt that it was so bad. I was trying too hard to make a podcast for a listener, and strayed away from the reason I wanted to start the podcast was for myself. I was trying to follow a loose script, and instead of just going with the flow, like I want to get my thoughts out there. So I'm changing it up a little bit today, and I'm going to play myself a little music to get started. Hopefully not violating any copyright laws, but get me in the mindset. That's right, a little Hollywood Undead for my intro music. So I want to do it more like an entertaining radio show for myself. And speaking of myself, so I didn't realize it yesterday, but when I went and listened to my podcast, I became at that moment the most popular podcaster in the history of podcasting, and got there the fastest because I have 100% market saturation for my demographic, me. So suck it, Joe Rogan. Just kidding. Call me Joe. So congratulations to me. That's quite an accomplishment. I'd like to thank myself for it, but so I did it again. I reached up and hit pause. I need to do that. I just need to go. So happy Groundhog's Day. Groundhog Day? I don't know. I guess Punxsutawney Phil saw his shadow, so we have 6 more weeks of winter to look forward to. On the drive home today, I was listening to the radio, and they mentioned Georgia has a groundhog of their own, General Beauregard Lee. This seems like a petty Me Too movement. States having their own. I mean, maybe I'm a little biased coming from Pennsylvania, but Punxsutawney Phil is the GOAT, right? So I looked up, I wanted to see if he saw a shadow, and I looked up the news report, and it said, yeah, he did see a shadow, 6 more weeks of winter, but then it said it contradicts with other groundhogs across the country. And I just, what? Other groundhogs. So in this article, they list a couple. 2 from New Jersey. Come on, New Jersey. Milltown Mel and Essex Ed. Lame. Got West Virginia, French Creek Freddy. Oh, New York. Come on. At least make an effort. Staten Island Chuck. I guess the most unoriginal is Jimmy the Groundhog from Wisconsin. I don't know if they saw the shadows or not, but there's only one Punxsutawney Phil. There's only one. Get a drink. This episode is, and probably most episodes, will be brought to you by Bang, whole lot of chocolata, keeping me going. I was going to record, I guess I broke another rule of podcasting. I tried to record yesterday at 9 o'clock, and they say consistency and regularity. Sounds more like a toilet routine, I guess. But I was so tired when I got home this morning. I just had to go to sleep. So now it's 12:46, and I'm just recording the podcast. So I was thinking, Punxsutawney Phil and the Groundhog Day, it's like really strange superstitions that we have. And as an aside, one thing I'd like to find out from Lex or Elon is, what about superstitions? Can we program superstitions into AI, and how would that look? More importantly, why would we want to do that? But that's for another day. So another thing about today that's kind of special is the date, 2/2/22. So I mentioned yesterday I was going to talk to my, or speak to my Gematria fans, and I need to pull up Gematria. That time I did stop it because I had to do some Google searching. But I pulled up Gematria for those of you that, not that I'm speaking to you, I know what Gematria is, but just in case anybody's listening, is the practice of assigning a numerical value to a name, word, phrase, according to an alphanumeric cipher. So a single word can yield several values depending on the cipher which is used. So way back, I guess it was probably last year about this time, I was super deep into a lot of conspiracy theories. A lot. And many times my wife called me crazy conspiracy theorist. And thinking back on that, I would have to agree. I did sound crazy. And not that all conspiracy theories can't be grounded in something, but there's an easy way to determine the plausibility of any conspiracy theory. And when I get into the conspiracy theories, I'm gonna go through that. It's really simple. It allowed me to come back to my reality and help formulate all these thoughts and shape and mold these philosophies and things that I have. But so I wouldn't give it up. I wouldn't change it. And I was in real deep. And Gematria is one of them. So one of the interesting things about Gematria is they would have the guru du jour on, and having, it was always like circle speak. They would always interview the same guests and, support each other and do all to an end. I understand some of them were trying to make money and some of them were just pandering, whatever it is. But one of them in particular was this Gematria specialist, guru. And so as dates approached, they would plug the words into a Gematria calculator. I happen to like writingthebeast.com Gematria, Gematria hyphen calculator. If I can figure out how to put links in wherever this is going, I'll put links in there. I have a limited amount of time, and this one I'm not even editing. But so I use this Riding the Beast Gematria calculator, and so you can plug in different things. So last year, they were talking about Ides of March. So you pull in, or Elon Musk, say. So Elon Musk has a value. Oh, in the Gematria calculator, you want to select in the drop down English ordinal, and then hit breakdown, and then type in your phrase and hit calculate, and it'll tell you what the values are in the English ordinal. So Elon Musk, Ronald Reagan, loud and clear, all have a value of 110. And you pretty much, Michael Flynn was in the news. He was 122. You pretty much put anything in here, and you get the value of the words. So you can pretty much make anything up that you want. It's data, and you can manipulate. If Mike Flynn doesn't work for your narrative, then put General Mike Flynn, and maybe that'll go in. So I was thinking, this is this more of like a superstition, or people are putting a lot of weight into this thing? I don't mean to go down this conspiracy theory angle too far. I did it again. I stopped it just to do a little search on the Gematria calculator, because I think it'd be interesting to look at this and then look back a year from now and see what came true. So I looked up on the Gematria calculator. So today's February 2nd, 2022. So 2/2/22. So we have February as a value of 96. Second has a value of 60. February 2nd is 156. So some of those are kind of interesting. I didn't find any correlations between any current events, but it's interesting as I go on. So if you look at... so I thought I'd plug in Pondering is 102, Infinity is 106, Success is 89, and Joe Rogan, we need to talk Joe Rogan is 85. So looking at some of these correlations between what I have stored from last year to now, comparing these numbers, it's absolute bullshit. Nothing. I can make anything fit the way. All I got to do is manipulate the numbers. So I can do whatever I want and make it look like I'm predicting something. And it's just coincidence. So I don't know. Snap out of it. I'm going to take a break a second. I'll be right back. A little more Hollywood Undead to come back. I'm really liking this format. So, things in the news. I wanted to do that. I wanted to in the interest of returning in a year to see where we are, I wanted to go over a couple things. Bitcoin's currently at 37,447. XRP is 60 cents, 61 cents. XLM is 19.7 cents, and Doge is 14 cents even. Haven't looked at the stock market. I guess I can do that quickly. Yeah, finance. Oh, let's see where we are. Just in the interest of posterity. Dow's at 35,556, S&P's 4581, Nasdaq's 14,417. And one other I wanted to hopefully get. Bitcoin. I wanted to see what gold was. Oh, gold's at. I'll get better at this. Gold's at 18.10.30, and silver's at 28.81. As an aside, I was looking through my pictures and I saw a picture of Bitcoin. I think it was about a year ago, and I think it was down $8,000. I'll have to look for it. But man, if you only knew now, if you only knew then what you know now, huh? So in the news, I saw a tweet from Elon, and it says they're going to be launching Falcon 9s every week this year. I don't know when the tweet was dated. I don't know if it was new. I can't really. I'm still learning this Twitter stuff. But anyway, assuming that it's correct, and they're putting their Starlink satellites in space, so they're going to have. He wants to put 42,000 low Earth orbiting satellites, about 22,000 miles in orbit, to cover the globe in internet and make a lot of money in the process. There's a video out. If I can find it, I can link to it, about how it's not any better than the current system that we have now with the underground under the buried cables that carry the signal, and then even if you go satellite, you still have to, the last mile, like they say, you still have to go somewhere, landlines or whatever. I don't know what the video says, but it's, they're putting down Elon's thing. My I guess concern, my question for Elon, one of many, would be regarding between going to Mars. He wants to get there in 10 years. I would ask him what the rush is, and I'll get to that in a minute. But why do we have to get to Mars in 10 years? Is the existential threat of AI? Do you see that taking over in 10 years? Do you see global warming? We need to get to another planet in 10 years? Or what's the rush? I have a theory, and I got this theory I heard about this first from Lex's podcast. Manolis Kellis was on there, and he in passing mentioned Apophis. And Apophis, it's been in the news, but not so much recently, I guess back in 2004. Apophis is an enormous asteroid, I guess relative, asteroid that has a chance of hitting us in 2069. So, there's chances for everything, right? So I thought it'd be interesting to look at what these chances mean and see why nobody's talking about it. So your chance of winning the Powerball, these are rough Google searches, so don't hold me to them, is 1 in 292 million. 292 million. The chance of getting hit by lightning is 1 in 1.2 million. Now, by scientific estimates, these greatest minds in science that are spending billions of dollars estimate the chance of Apophis hitting the Earth at 1 in 530,000. What? You're twice as likely to get struck by lightning than Apophis hitting the Earth in 2068? And nobody's talking about it? Or they talk about it and they blow it off? This seems really bad. So could that be a reason that Elon needs to get off the Earth? Because we're going to get hit by... Neil deGrasse Tyson has a video saying, oh, it won't be that bad. It's the size of some building, and it's most likely going to hit in the Pacific Ocean. So it'll only wipe out to Montana, the West Coast. That's not bad. I mean, it could be worse. It could be a bigger one that could take out, or, the global killer like they have in Armageddon that obliterate Earth. I think it said it was like this one's 400... Sorry, my alarm went off. This one's 400 meters or something like that. Then the next size up would be like a kilometer. And then he said the next one up would be 10 kilometers, and that would extinguish life on Earth. But it's not bad. We're only going to lose half the country and millions of people, and nobody's talking about it. But Elon's trying to get the hell out of here. Just a theory. I don't know if there's any validity to it. But another curious aspect of this is Elon's launching all these satellites. He wants to put 42,000 geosynchronous orbiting satellites in low Earth orbit, around 22,000 miles. But something nobody's saying is that all these great minds that are expecting, in scientific terms, relatively, expecting the Earth to get hit by an asteroid, haven't mentioned that in 2029, that asteroid is going to come within 20,000 miles of Earth. So inside Elon's satellites. So he's launching satellites, and it's like a pinball game up there. They're going to be dodging asteroids, and does any of this sound horrible to anybody? It does to me. And nobody's mentioning it. And then you have other scientists that are saying, "Oh, we're gonna use this opportunity to shoot nuclear weapons at it and see if we can deflect it." I mean, it's like the bad script from Armageddon. We can't send drillers up there, so we're going to do everything we can, and we're going to shoot lasers at it and test it. And what happens if you knock it off kilter and I don't know, it moves and hits Earth in 2029. So Elon wants to be out of here in 2029? I don't know. Or by 2032, he's conservatively giving himself a decade to colonize another planet. it just seems crazy that nobody's talking about this. But when I was on Twitter, let me get back to it. Where's Elon? Elon's tweet. That he has a tweet pinned to his Twitter account. And it says, if you scare enough people, they will demand removal of freedom. This is the path to tyranny. Curious that, well, I don't know, maybe it's ironic that this information about Apophis scares me and makes me wonder what's going on. But if you really wanted to scare people, don't you think that would be a pretty huge scare to get that out in the open and get, panic people thinking about it? We really have no idea what's going to happen in 2029. We've never had an asteroid come this close to Earth. We're going to shoot nuclear weapons and lasers at it. We have no idea. There's so many assumptions made in science, in the whole spectrum of science, about the laws of physics, and there's so many assumptions. We really have no idea. Neil deGrasse Tyson, all of them talking about multiverse, and they're brilliant people, and it's great that they can spend their days thinking about this stuff. But what practical contribution to life are you offering? We need to use technology to make our lives better today. And if part of that means knowing about Apophis and knowing what, scientists don't know what they don't know, but doesn't the world deserve the same opportunity? Most of the people in the world don't have an opportunity to get research grants or public speaking on, get millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars or however much you're making to be a theoretical, for lack of a better, theoretical physicist. But we have an opportunity to use technology to make life better now. Where are all the scientists with that vision, with an altruistic humanitarian vision in mind? Why are none of them speaking out? Why is nobody asking the questions of scientists? That's why I like listening to Lex. His podcasts are very high level and academic, and I use the analogy. I like The Big Bang Theory, the show, and I use the analogy. Sometimes I feel like Howard when I'm listening to these things. Howard, not the doctor. I get concepts, I get it, but it's still, there's a lot of stuff, even string theory, and there's a lot of assumptions you're making in string theory based on things we have no idea that exist, or no idea how to measure them or scientifically prove them. But because you're a scientist, you can make assumptions and you're not shot down. But what about, using technology to better our lives now? I touched upon this yesterday with the electric vehicles. Why can't we just put a carbon sink or use technology to reformulate? Elon used first principles thinking to build a better rocket to get himself off the planet. He's inventing alloys at SpaceX to this end. Now, he admits that it's going to be a huge undertaking, and I'm not slamming him for his vision. I think it's great. I would just like him to own it. If that is a reason, then come out and own it. If whatever your reasoning for autonomous vehicles are, come out and own it. But, you're marketing genius, and, you get shit done. But how about getting stuff done for here and now, using some of the first principles thinking to make things better right now, to not the AI, that's a whole nother topic, but just most people working day to day, living paycheck to paycheck. I heard a commercial, I think it was for a lawyer, that said most people don't have $400 saved up. Those most people are the ones that are going to work every day and earning that paycheck. So you scientists and academics and researchers and theoretical physicists and theoretical chemists have an opportunity to do your passion. And we trudge along and plod along and, just exist so you can continue your work. And it's great work you're doing, but how about giving back a little bit? How about what we were shopping for a car, my wife and I, before I did the repairs on hers, and we were at a Jeep dealership because she has to have a Jeep, and that's fine. But there was a Jeep there, the new Jeep, that was $120,000 for a Jeep. It's like it's what like a house used to be. Now houses are crazy. How about technologies that bring the cost of car manufacturing down, so we can actually afford a new car, let alone a Tesla, but if we wanted to buy one. But technologies that make living, how about technologies to improve healthy foods and make them less to produce, so we curb the obesity problem in the United States, or we attack that? Or how about technologies that allow not even technologies, how about legalizing I heard Lex, I think it was Lex, talk about another guest about opening up areas where you can go and experience heroin or drugs under supervised, medically licensed, high grade, medically licensed professional in case something goes wrong. It would cut out thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of OD deaths. Or, these are simple things, not even requiring science, but politicians as well. If you're really concerned about saving lives and you pushed, it took you that long, to get seatbelts in cars, what about seatbelts that won't let the car start unless it's buckled? Or how about making a technology where I'm driving down the road in the pouring rain and some idiot coming the other way has the free will to not put his lights on? How about a technology when you turn your wipers on, your lights come on? When you turn your wipers off, your lights go off? Not even solving the global warming emissions problem. Everything can coexist. It's just we need people to ask the right questions of the right people to get people thinking. So I don't know. I think I just looked at the time. It's 35 minutes, so I guess I should wrap it up. I think that today went a little better. Oh, today is episode 1 of the Pondering Infinity podcast. I think it went a little better. Probably going to have to work on my outro, or whatever you call it. But I'm going to leave me with some Hollywood Undead.